Welcome back to the channel. Today, focus sits on the Airbus A321XLR, Thai Airways announcing plans to grow its fleet, and Ryanair in a world of hurt. Let me begin with Qantas, who are continuing to prepare for the upcoming delivery of the Airbus A321XLR, with the expected arrival date now fastly approaching. The Australian flag carrier says preparations are well underway, and now we have the news that pilots have begun training to prepare for the arrival of the aircraft. Qantas expects first delivery of the XLR in April 2025. This is a part of a major overhaul to the fleet within the Qantas group, as greater emphasis is placed on modernisation and renewal efforts. At this stage, the 28 total A321XLRs will be an important pillar in replacement efforts for the existing 737 fleet, which has served the company well now for so long. However, by implementing something like the XLR, the true progression of aircraft capabilities is being shown, with higher capacity, alongside greater range available for the airline. Qantas pilots are now training through a simulator that was shipped across a 34-day journey from Montreal, Canada to a land down under to aid pilots. 240 pilots are expected to be trained on the A321XLR over the next 3 years, with great opportunities for new pathways to be forged for existing and prospective future employees. The simulator, well, it'll be used for 60 hours per pilot, as part of a broader training program, and on top of that, we will see 4 recurring training sessions which will be held each year to ensure that pilots' preparation is at the tip-top standard alongside their sharpness for the product that they're flying on a daily basis. Qantas notes that the simulator is state-of-the-art with all the latest technologies, including a dual head-up display, and will ensure that pilots are in the best shape possible to tackle the life-size aircraft once it is delivered. The simulator for the XLR is based at the Sydney Flight Training Centre, and this centre will undoubtedly be getting a bit of a workout in the coming years when you consider just how many new aircraft are going to be entering not just Qantas but the broader group's operation across the next decade. Away from pilots, Qantas also states that around 2,000 cabin crew will be trained to work on the XLR in the future, a considerable amount that still makes sense when you consider the intent to leverage this single-aisle Airbus plane to replace the 737s, which have been a workhorse on the domestic front for so long. Qantas will become one of the early adopters of the A321XLR, which we know also recently obtained certification, allowing it to safely enter service with launch customer Iberia. The variant is basically an enhanced A321neo, with the extended range at the core of its capabilities, the type widely considered a game changer for any airline looking to adopt it. The aircraft it is replacing in the 737 is 13% smaller in the cabin, but the thing is with the XLR there is no reduction between the space in the seats, so therefore there is no compromise on the comfortability factor, which is very important in terms of renewal efforts. Qantas is naming its first XLR Great Ocean Road. The first 3 units will be delivered with 180 economy class seats and obviously burn far less fuel and be overall more efficient than the outgoing 737s. Over to Thai Airways, who are continuing to chart a course for growth, reaffirming their stance that adding more aircraft to the fleet will be absolutely essential, as global air travel is expected to rise in the coming years, and obviously many more people are going to be flying not just to and from Thailand, but to neighbouring locations, even extending to more long-haul travel. Thai Airways has absolutely no choice but to respond. For Thai, the plan has been clear. The 77 total aircraft will be increased to 90 planes by the end of the 2025 calendar year. The airline says from that point forward, it will grow its fleet to almost 150 planes over the next 10 years, as it places greater reliance on adding wide-body aircraft among other types. It is important to note that the growth to 150 aircraft is also factoring in that aircraft will be retired. So not only are they going to be focusing on renewal efforts, there will also also be looking at adding aircraft to grow the business to this stature that they wish. Thai Airways strictly hopes that by focusing in on, say, more wide-body planes, they'll be able to better cater to long-haul markets with a state-of-the-art next-gen type that has that capacity required. On short-haul markets, while smaller aircraft can be readily available, they know that the wide-bodies could be able to be deployed between, say, markets that require a larger plane. Earlier this year, Thai Airways confirmed it would actually purchase additional 787 Dreamliners after what was a very long-winded process to find a new wide-body. The substantial order included 45 units, and the 787-9 was selected, that being the middle ground variant, which has been such a resounding success for so many airlines already. By implementing more 787s, Thai Airways targets fuel reduction and thus emissions by up to 25% in comparison to the aircraft it will be replacing. Thai Airways knows that it will use this efficiency to the maximum, but again, that high capacity is going to be so important whether it is in Asia or across its long-haul market. The 787's versatility has become a huge selling point, with it being able to fly on a varying degree of missions. The growth of this business is certainly fascinating to see, and remember, does follow a restructuring. Even more so, it follows the retirement of several high-capacity and beloved, but also inefficient types over recent years. The company needs to rebuild and also knows it needs to say goodbye to some existing planes. Over to Ryanair, one of Boeing's most important customers that has been incredibly vocal about its displeasure with the manufacturer's current state of affairs. The major budget airline has been considerably affected by the inability to take delivery of aircraft on time, and yes, I'm looking at the 737 MAX. Its chief executive officer has stated that millions will be lost on ticket sales alone as the airline battles this. These fewer deliveries impact the fleet and the ability to grow into desired markets. That very ability to grow has been highlighted as, for example, Ryanair is expecting 5 million fewer passengers to board its jets this year alone. It really does highlight the negative ramifications more than just a company being frustrated. It gives us real-life examples. Ryanair is also by no means a small airline. With hundreds of 737s in the skies, it knows it also had to commit to hundreds of 737 MAX jets, a like-for-like replacement as part of renewal but also fleet growth plans. Unfortunately, they have just so happened to commit to an aircraft type at a time in which there's just been not necessarily a smooth pathway available for delivery, production, and everything else in between. In terms of those real-world examples I've been giving you, revenues are expected to be slashed by some 500 million this year because they can't get their planes on time. Ultimately, though, Ryanair is hardly the only airline facing something similar to other airlines also facing delivery delays from Boeing, but on the other side of things, Airbus customers have also been impacted. However, arguably their stance has not been as negative, likely to do with the state of Airbus's image in comparison to Boeing's, with the latter being far more negative. While Ryanair says it is receiving compensation for the impact from Boeing, it has stated numerous times that it would much rather actually have the aircraft it has purchased than compensation. It will allow it to operate its business as intended. That'll conclude today's aviation news recap. Thank you very much for your support here on the channel. Take care, be safe, and I'll see you same place, same time tomorrow.